welcome back to Nerding on the Dbacks. It's been a while, I feel like, right?
Yeah, we had illness and injury in the house in the past week. By the way, I'm Dad / Chris.
I'm Son / Phoenix.
Yeah, so Limerick, your little brother, had a bit of a tumble last week, and then he got sick. Everyone in his daycare got sick. Your mom got sick. I got sick, and we were actually going to record on Wednesday, but I woke up and spent most of my day sounding like this, and so we did it, because that would have been really awkward.
Yeah.
So we're catching up, and frankly, there wasn't a lot of important news to discuss, so I don't feel like we missed one, but we're back. And what are we going to do today, Phoenix?
Well, we're going to do what we did last week and the week before that.
That's
and
right.
The week before that.
We're going to play the game show that's the baseball game show that's taken the baseball world.
And
I think that's not too strong.
And guess what, guys?
By storm.
I haven't popped my knuckle in the past 5 minutes of recording this.
Yeah. All right. Well done, Phoenix. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
That, and we've been on for less than 2 minutes.
Well,
No, that didn't really make it. So, yeah. Let's see. I guess, so we're going to play. Did you really just say that? And did you
he
really
just said that.
Did you really just say that is a game that we make 3 predictions each, and they must be quantifiable so that we can document and definitively say whether they were, if we predicted correctly or incorrectly. And then in the future, once we have some more predictions down and have this smoothed out, we want to start having guests on. So let us know if you're
Yay.
interested. That's it. And let's hop into it.
We want guest. We want guest. We want guest.
You really believe everything
I'm
you
going
just
to
said?
make the first prediction here. The first prediction is Bryce Jarvis.
Who?
Bryce Jarvis. He's a pitcher at AAA. First, the prediction is Bryce Jarvis,
Who?
will be the starting pitcher for the Dbacks' very first game of spring training. So let me tell you about Bryce Jarvis.
Who?
Bryce Jarvis is a depth pitcher, essentially, for the Diamondbacks. He's a 26-year-old. He ranks about 30th in the D-backs prospects system, maybe 25th, somewhere there. We probably won't see him on the D-backs this year, except for possibly in a relief role. That said, you need guys like this in the system to be at AAA, to soak up innings, and also usually the pitcher who leads the Diamondbacks, or maybe pretty much any MLB team or that starts most spring training games, I should say starts the early season. They usually play the young guys, the guys who don't have much of a shot at making the roster, and they're going to get sent down. And but they're usually guys who have, you would refer to them maybe as organizational soldiers. And so they've been around for a while. Bryce Jarvis doesn't have a whole lot of upside, but he could be a major leaguer with a serviceable career. And so they probably give him the nod to start opening day of spring training. And so, that's my prediction. Bryce Jarvis will be the opening spring training day starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks.
Did you really just say that?
So, all right, Phoenix, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Okay.
What do you got?
So I think we should have explained this before, but we're trying to stay in a spring training category because it's coming up and everybody loves spring training. So for my first prediction, Pavin Smith, who is a first baseman, will lead the team in plate appearances in spring training.
That's right. He actually plays some outfield too. But he is primarily a first baseman.
Yeah.
That part is true. Why do you think it's going to be Pavin Smith?
Because it's usually the fringe 13th man on the roster that leads each team.
Yeah, that's correct. That's awesome. Yeah, so it's usually guys who, because the teams want to get a really good look at the guys who are competing for the last spot on the roster, or the last couple spots on the roster. And, Pavin Smith is fighting for, right now, 2 roster spots. But if they sign a bat, if they go and get a JD Martinez or Jock Peterson or perhaps Brandon Belt, they probably will only carry one of these guys. And, Pavin Smith's fighting for a roster spot with Dominic Fletcher and Jake McCarthy. And I would definitely give Jake McCarthy the inside track on that. They all have options remaining. Do you know what an option is?
It's like you can either have this food or this food.
That's true. So an option in baseball is you have the option of sending a guy to the minor leagues. And so some players don't have options. Like Ketel Marte does not have an option. Brandon Pfaadt does have an option. Usually, like, young guys have options to be sent to the minors, where someone like Jace Peterson, for example, who I think is probably to a lesser extent in this competition with Pavin Smith and Dominic Fletcher, even though he primarily plays infield, I think they're all left-handed hitters. And Jace Peterson does not have an option. So if they send him to the minors, he probably goes through waivers. Now, I don't think he gets picked up because he's got a $5 million contract attached to him. And so he probably clears waivers, and then he can either opt to be a free agent, free agency, or he can go and join the AAA team and hope that he gets called back up one day when the Dbacks need him, or if he plays better than kind of anticipated. And so, yeah, I like it. Any of these guys, if they have a great spring, they definitely could be snagging that spot. So, fun prediction. So, my next prediction is going to be...
Do you really believe everything you just said?
The Amazon Prime Video has been a really hot topic this past week with their step in the Diamond Sports case, which is really the owner of Bally's. And so Amazon Prime Video, Amazon purchased the rights to the markets of essentially 5 MLB teams. And so...
Do we know what the 5 MLB teams are?
It's released, but I don't remember who they are.
Should have put that in.
Probably. And so there's some debate out there that they may purchase more. I'm of the opinion that they won't, and at least not right now. I think they're probably going to take these markets, however many markets it is that they're broadcasting these 5 games or 5 teams games, and they're going to run them on Prime Video, stream them this upcoming season, and then after the season is over, they'll make a decision based on how ratings are, if they want to purchase more. Now, if they come out the gates and ratings are just gangbusters, amazing for Amazon Prime on those 5 teams for the season, I think you could see them hop in and purchase more teams earlier. But I don't think they're going to. So my prediction is that Amazon Prime will not stream a single Diamondbacks game in 2024.
Even if when they make the playoffs?
No, Prime won't be carrying playoff games. It's just regional games. So I do think that there's a fair chance that Prime Video carries the D-backs in 2025 and carries all their games, frankly. But I don't think it's going to be happening in 2024. I'd love to see it, but that's my prediction. It won't happen.
I mean, when they win the World Series, they're going to have to.
Yeah, you might have an argument with Fox. I'm pretty sure they already have legal holdings on...
You said that.
Broadcast rights.
Really?
To those games. And Amazon Prime probably can't buy those. So, all right, that's my second prediction. What's your second prediction, Phoenix?
So Jorge Barosa / Short King at 5'5" will lead the team in batting average in spring training.
Ooh, I love it. Aggressive.
Short King.
Short King. I hope he gets enough plate appearances, gets a lot of plate appearances. I'm a little worried about his playing time. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets sent down after like 2 weeks to go join the AAA team, because there's really no chance that he's going to join the major league team. And a lot of times, if they're not competing and they're expected to play a lot, they usually don't keep those guys on the roster. But that said, I wouldn't be surprised if in those 20 plate appearances, he's crushing the ball. Not crushing it literally, but just spraying line drives all over. Yeah, because what is it's more like it's like a sprinkler.
The players are the weeds, and he's like spraying them with all the line drives.
He's the I guess the weed killer out there. That's funny. Barossa, I love that you picked this, because what's his number one tool as a player?
He plays a solid offense.
He plays solid outfield, but as a hitter, he's got a solid hit tool. So what they reference as a hit tool is when a guy makes good solid contact. It doesn't have anything to do with power, but it usually means that they hit the ball square and they don't swing and miss a lot. And he's got a very good hit tool. He doesn't swing and miss almost ever, and he hits a lot of line drives. And so I'd actually peg him as the most underrated prospect in the Diamondbacks system. And I know he's not rated very highly because he doesn't have a real high a real high ceiling. He doesn't have the power that teams are looking for, but all his other tools are good to great. And he has a really high floor. He's unlikely to ever be an all-star, but he's almost certainly a 5-year or more career kind of guy, even if he's just a fourth outfielder and never gets above that. He's fast enough and plays good enough defense and hits well enough that I think he'll be in the majors for quite a while. And he's only 22 years old.
We forgot about this. What would you say this is for, like single, double, triple? Forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll take care of that afterwards. We'll clear that part up. But good call out. We should discuss that. Let's face it. If Pavin Smith, I think, whatever, we could go into that afterwards. And but yeah, I like prospects like Jorge Barossa. He's got a really high floor. Like I said, he may not be ever be an all-star, but he's almost certainly going to have a decent MLB career. And when guys like him show competence all the way through the minors, including through AAA, again, no standout tools necessarily, but other than his defense and speed, which go together. But he does have a very good hit tool. He just doesn't have a lot of raw power. So I like this pick. I think Barossa has got a fair shot at making that happen. I mean, with the number of plate appearances that these guys get in spring training, it's a crapshoot that happens, but it's a fun prediction for sure. So my last prediction, third prediction, is in regards to the article that came out this week I guess not article, but MLB Pipeline released its top 100 prospects. And the Diamondbacks had only one player on it. And his name is Jordan Lawler. And folks, he was ranked at 5 in the entire country. Here's the crazy thing. He was 10 a year ago. He actually went up on the list over the last year. And he's stuck mainly behind a bunch of 25, 26, 27, 28-year-old Asian players that came over and who are really should be considered veterans, and that they, as far as like prospect status is concerned, I know technically they're not because they don't have any innings pitched or plate appearances.
That was very specific on the Asian players.
Well, they are. They came over from Korea and Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you saying
Yamamoto is considered a rookie?
Every Asian is really good at baseball?
No, but when there's a kind of a strange thing with players like one of the guy I can't remember his name, Shama. I'm just gonna butcher it, but the guy who just signed with the Cubs, right? He's 30 years old. He just signed with the Cubs, and he's 30, and he's considered a rookie this season, even though he's 30. And so they should do something. They should create a separate award and list and status for players that played overseas at the game's highest level, and then at their league's highest level, and then came to the United States to play in Major League Baseball, because it's kind of two levels. To compare someone like Drew Jones to the Cubs pitcher, or the player out of the Giants signed. All of those guys, Jordan Lawler, I'm not certain. I don't remember, but he might be the one. He's certainly one of the top 3 prospects under the age of 25 on that list, and that's huge. That's awesome. And I think Dbacks fans got a little soured on him a little bit when he came up in September. That's right, sour face. When he came up in September last year, and he didn't light the world on fire like Corbin Carroll did the year before. And I mean, people got to understand, like, what Corbin Carroll did in 2022 in his September call-up is unheard of. Players don't do that sort of thing. That's the exception to the rule. That is not the rule. A player like Jordan Lawler, everyone outside of D-backs fans is super excited for this kid and thinks he's going to be just a major stud and should probably be the opening day shortstop for the Diamondbacks. But you read the message boards and Twitter about the D-backs, and D-backs fans are super down on Lawler. It's so weird. So I think that this kid's going to be a crazy talented, potentially all-star level shortstop. Like, Perdomo's a decent player. I don't think Perdomo has got an all-star season in him. I think Jordan Lawler has got multi-all-star and down-ballot MVP vote-getting caliber in his future. So I'm just super excited for him. Also, my prediction after all of that is that while the MLB pipeline top 100 only has one D-backs player, I predict that the Fangraphs top 100 prospects list will have 2 players on it. I believe Tommy Troy will still rank in the top 100 when it comes to Fangraphs. Tommy Troy did nothing to he was on Fangraphs last year. He did nothing to dissuade anybody who thought he was the 60th-ish ranked prospect in 2023 to not put him on the list again in 2024. He was solid. He did not disappoint at all. And so, Tommy Troy looks like a capital S stud that could be coming up and playing for the D-backs in, it's going to be a while still, 2026, 2027. You might be graduated from high school by the time he gets here.
Hopefully.
I'm kidding. I don't think that's likely. It's not going to take. I hope he doesn't take that long. I think Tommy Troy and Jordan Lawler will be on the Fangraphs list. Go ahead with your third and final pick.
Okay,
Phoenix.
so
You really just say that?
All right.
I was scrolling on TikTok and I was scrolling on the D-backs account, and then I see this amazing video of Ketel Marte's his spring training workout, and I just, holy crap, he is ripped. So when I see
He did look like a football player.
yeah, so when I see him, so my prediction is Ketel Marte will have a report about him showing up in spring training in the best shape of his life.
I
said that.
I love the best shape of his life narrative and reports that come out. Almost every Major League Baseball team has them. Even teams like the Rays and the A's and the Orioles, who have they're usually about position players. They're not very often about pitchers. Pitchers don't get too many best shape of his life stories written about them, but it's usually about a veteran like Ketel Marte. So that's a good prediction. I like that. I think, he falls into the bucket. Suarez, Gurriel, Martinez, Walker, those four players fall into the prime category of player type that gets the best shape of their life narrative written about them. And let's face it, Ketel Marte, he had quads that looked like tree trunks in that video. That was insane. So
that's a pretty good metaphor for that.
He looked great, and even teams like I said, Rays, Orioles, A's, even though they have almost no veteran players in their position player core, they're still reporters almost always find a way to write the narrative about someone showing up in the best shape of their life. It's just a story that you've got to run in spring training for somebody on the team. We'll
put the link to go watch the video in the description.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Wow. He looks so great.
He looks stout. I think that's a great pick.
I just said that.
And so that's it for this edition of Did You Really Just Say That?
Did you really just say that?
Should we get game show music when we intro this game? We could just make some game show music is like elevator music with just a little more bounciness to it. No, that's a song that already exists.
I know.
But we could toy around with it. We could come up with something, I think.
Yeah.
So very cool. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in for this short and fun little edition of Did You Really Just Say That? And what's the pod called?
Pod's called Nerding on the Dbacks, and make sure to get your inner kindergartner and share, because sharing is important.
Sharing is being a good person and a good friend and a good listener.
And a good kindergartner.
And of course, like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, do all those things. Follow us on all of the platforms. We're on X, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify, Apple, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time today. And with that, I bid you adieu. Bye. Nerding on the Dbacks! Woo!
Are we testing this?
No, go ahead.
Can we start over?